My name is Jenna Reynolds, and I'm 31 years old. I've been working at the customer service desk at CostCo in Portland, Oregon, for about 5 years now. It's a decent job, steady pay, good benefits, and most of the time, the work is straightforward. But one night, something happened that still haunts me. It was a regular Thursday evening, not too busy, but steady enough to keep me and my coworker, Jason, on our toes. Jason was 28, a friendly guy who'd been working there for about a year. We got along well, often chatting between helping customers. That night, just before closing, a customer came in asking for an item that wasn't on the floor, so Jason offered to go check the storage area in the back. He left with a casual, "Be right back," and I continued helping the next person in line. 15 minutes passed, and Jason still hadn't returned. I figured maybe he was having trouble finding the item, or maybe he'd bumped into a manager and got sidetracked. I was busy, so I didn't think too much of it. But when almost an hour had gone by, I started to get annoyed. I mean, we were supposed to be closing soon, and he hadn't even come back to help with the evening rush. I decided to give him a call. I grabbed the store phone and dialed his number, but to my surprise, I heard a faint buzzing sound nearby. I looked around and found Jason's phone on the counter near the entrance. My annoyance quickly turned to concern. Jason was the kind of guy who never went anywhere without his phone. Leaving it behind was completely out of character. I tried to shrug it off, thinking maybe he just forgot it in a hurry, but as closing time came and went with no sign of him, my concern grew. I mentioned it to our manager, who agreed something was off. Together, we checked the store, calling his name, but there was no answer. We combed through the aisles, checked the restrooms, and even looked in the parking lot. Nothing. The store's security team pulled up the footage from the cameras. We watched as Jason walked into the storage area, but what we saw next made my blood run cold. He never walked out. The camera at the back entrance showed him entering, but there was no footage of him leaving. He had just vanished. The police were called, and they conducted a thorough search of the store, but they found nothing. No sign of Jason, no clues as to where he might have gone. It was as if he had disappeared into thin air. For weeks, the store was tense. Rumors flew among the staff, theories ranging from him running away to something more sinister. But the weirdest part was the storage area itself. It always felt cold back there, and more than once. I thought I heard faint whispers when I was alone. Then, about a month later, a new employee named Sarah was organizing the back when she found something that sent chills down my spine. A blood-stained apron hidden behind a stack of boxes. It was Jason's. The police were called again, but they couldn't make sense of it. There was no body, no evidence of a struggle, just that apron, soaked in blood. Jason's case remains unsolved to this day. They never found him, and I can't shake the feeling that something terrible happened that night. I still work at CostCo, but every time I pass that storage area, I get this overwhelming sense of dread. Something's not right back there, and deep down, I know Jason didn't just disappear. Whatever happened to him, it's something that shouldn't have been disturbed. Some nights, when it's quiet and I'm closing up, I think I can hear those whispers again, faint and haunting. And every time, I wonder if Jason's trying to tell us what really happened to him. My name is Lisa Thompson, and I'm 35 years old. I've been working at the CostCo in Atlanta, Georgia, for almost 7 years. I've seen a lot during my time here: busy weekends, chaotic sales, and the occasional strange customer. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened one Saturday afternoon. It was one of those days when the store was packed. People were everywhere, pushing carts filled with bulk items, chatting, and rushing to get their shopping done. I was at the customer service desk when a woman came running up to me, her face pale with terror. She was shaking, barely able to get the words out. "My daughter, she's gone. I can't find her anywhere. Immediately, my heart dropped. A missing child in a place this large was a nightmare. I grabbed the store phone and called for a lockdown. All the doors were shut, and no one was allowed in or out until we found that little girl. Every employee stopped what they were doing to help search. We checked every aisle, every corner, every restroom. But after what felt like an eternity, there was still no sign of her. The mother's panic turned to desperation, and I could feel the tension in the air. Customers were anxious, whispering among themselves, and the store was eerily quiet despite the crowd. We knew time was against us. That's when our manager decided to review the security footage. We gathered around the monitor, watching as the little girl wandered through the store, looking at toys and snacks. Then, something caught our eye. She was approached by a man in a CostCo uniform. He smiled, took her hand, and led her toward the staff-only area. We all froze. None of us recognized him. The footage ended abruptly as they reached the door, leaving us with more questions than answers. The police were called, and they combed through every inch of that staff area. But the girl was gone. No trace of her anywhere. The man in the video had vanished too, as if he had never existed. Days turned into weeks, and the search for that little girl became a full-blown investigation. But nothing came of it. It was as if she had simply disappeared. Then, months later, we heard the news. A former CostCo employee had been arrested in connection with a child trafficking ring. The revelation sent shivers down my spine. We had been working alongside a monster, and none of us had known. But even with the arrest, the little girl was never found. Her face haunted me for months. Every time I saw a child in the store, I couldn't help but think of her. What happened that day still lingers in my mind, a dark shadow over the place I once thought of as safe. I don't think any of us will ever truly get over it. There's something deeply unsettling about knowing that evil can hide in plain sight, and that sometimes, even a place as ordinary as CostCo can become a gateway to something much darker. My name is Jake Thompson, and I'm 29 years old. I used to work at the CostCo in Seattle, Washington. Last year, I was getting ready to move out of state for a new job, and my last shift at CostCo was supposed to be just another routine night. But that shift turned into something I'll never forget. It was a Tuesday, close to closing time, and the store was unusually quiet. There was an odd tension in the air, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. I was in the back, stacking pallets, when I heard it, a faint whisper, almost too soft to be real. At first, I thought I was imagining things. But then I heard it again, clearer this time. Asterisk help me. Asterisk, I stopped what I was doing and looked around, but there was no one there. I was alone in the back storage area, surrounded by towering stacks of boxes and pallets. My heart started to race. I listened closely, and the whispers grew louder, more urgent. The words were muffled, but the desperation in them was unmistakable. The sound seemed to be coming from a maintenance closet in the far corner of the storage area. I hesitated, my hand trembling as I reached for the door. Something inside me screamed to leave it alone, but I couldn't ignore the voice. I had to know what was going on. When I finally unlocked the door, my stomach twisted. Inside the cramped closet was a woman, bound and gagged, her eyes wide with terror. She was covered in bruises, her clothes torn and dirty. For a split second, we just stared at each other, both frozen in shock. Before I could react, the door behind me slammed shut, the force of it nearly knocking me off my feet. I spun around, but it was too late. The room was plunged into darkness, and I felt a presence, a cold, menacing figure lurking just out of sight. I could hear the woman's muffled cries growing more frantic, but I couldn't see a thing. Panic surged through me, and I fumbled for the doorknob, desperate to get out. Somehow, I managed to yank the door open and bolt out of the storage area. I didn't stop running until I was outside, gasping for air as I called the police. When they arrived, I led them to the closet, but the woman was gone. The ropes that had bound her were gone too, and there was no trace of the figure I had sensed in the shadows. The police searched the entire store, but found nothing. That night haunts me to this day. I never found out who the woman was or how she ended up there. But the worst part, the feeling that someone, or something, is still watching me, waiting for the day I might return. I moved away, like I planned, but no matter how far I go, I can't shake the memory of that night or the dread that follows me wherever I go.